Hi, I'm James and welcome back to the HSS studio. Now, we've just finished laying our beautiful new laminate flooring and are now looking at the next stage of our room transformation, the skirting boards. So today we're going to show you how to fix skirting directly over your new floor to hide those expansion gaps and give your walls a professional border. Installing skirting boards is all about precision, so let's look at the materials and tools we'll be using today. Now remember, you can buy your materials or hire the specialist gear directly from hss.com. Skirting board, MDF or softwood. Grip adhesive, high strength grab glue. Decorator's cork and wood filler for that invisible finish. Lost head nails for a mechanical fix into the studs. Electric miter saw, essential for clean, accurate angles. Angle finder or digital protractor, the pro secret for that tricky corner. A brad nailer or hammer to secure the boards while the glue dries. Tape measure and pencil for precise marking. A coping saw if you're opting for scribed internal joints. Now, that electric miter saw is going to be our best friend today. It's a specialist bit of kit that ensures our joints are gap free. So let's bring back Kim to show us the ropes. So Kim, the floor is down, the spaces are out, which means we have our expansion gaps to cover with nice new skirting boards. Where do we start? Kim, welcome back to the HSS studio. Thank you very much for joining us. We have just finished putting in our flooring in and we're just about to start on some skirting boards, aren't we?
We certainly are.
Fantastic, looking forward to it. Are there any initial checks that we need to do before we jump straight into it?
Yes, James. So what we're going to do is we're going to walk around the room and we're just going to check the walls to see if there's any debris or anything that might interfere with the skirting boards, like nails that are hanging out, and we're going to remove those. Now, because we've laid a floating floor down, we're going to attach our skirting boards onto the wall.
Okay.
A good little tip is if you have a stud finder, you can find the studs in your wall, mark where the studs are, and then when you come to attach your panels, that's where you need to put the nails into the wall. Perfect, but we're quite lucky because we've just finished plastering our stud wall in the HSS studio, so we know where our studs are, don't we? So that's going to save us a little bit of time today. It certainly is. Perfect, okay, so let's start cleaning up this space, shall we, and get primed? Yep, let's go. Okay, so now we're going to attach our first piece of skirting board to the wall, and we're quite happy that this end is going to butt up to the corner, which we're going to scribe later.
Yep.
So now what we're going to do is, because we're going to have another piece of skirting board that's going to connect to this, and we don't want to just butt it up together, we want to get a really nice finish. We're going to miter this angle at 45 degrees, and then when we attach both panels together, we'll get a really nice finish on it.
So a bit like what we did on the dado rail.
Exactly.
Nice, okay, let's do it. Okay Kim, so I've been left to the chop saw for a few minutes and I've just managed to mess up one of my 45-degree cuts a little bit, haven't I?
Yeah, but this happens all the time, and sometimes when you're using massive panels on a chop saw, the weight of it can bring it down. So what we will do with this is we'll attach the skirting boards onto the wall and we can just use a bit of wood filler and you won't see it.
Perfect. Now, most rooms have standard 90-degree corners. But here in the studio, we also have a feature that has an unusual angle to work out. Now, we won't get a professional finish if we just guess the cut, so let's see how Kim works it out. Okay, so we are in the naughty corner again, and we've got an angle that is 143.2 degrees, so we're going to halve that for our two cuts.
That's right.
Which should give us 71.56, so should we have a look at what that looks like?
Yeah, so 71.56.
Yeah.
71.6.
There we go. And that's what our cut is going to look like.
Okay James, so we've established our first angle and we've cut the skirting panels to fit. So we can't assume that the second angle is the same.
No,
so
I don't trust this wall.
No, neither do I. So we are going to find the second angle and make sure that we do exactly the same process.
Okay, and I finally get to use my new favourite tool.
Your angle finder.
Perfect, I'm going to find the angle. Kim, we've finished our cuts on our skirting board. We had a few tricky bits, especially in our naughty corner. Can you just talk through the cuts that we made to make sure that everything looks as flush and as neat as possible?
Sure. So first of all, we attached 2 pieces of skirting board together over here. And instead of just butting them up together, we cut them at a 45-degree angle so that they sat nice and flush, one on top of the other.
Yeah.
Then we came over to our naughty corner. And we used our angle finder to find out the full angle of here. And we've divided that into half, and we just took our time. We used the chop saw to find out what angle, which I think was about 70 degrees either side, and then we got a really nice finish.
Yep.
Again, same principle over this side. Always, we don't put them together, 45-degree angle.
You want that nice finish, and I think it's just worth saying as well, every house, every wall is going to be different. You're going to have some crumbly walls, some walls that sort of stick out in places.
Yes.
If you make any mistakes, you can always, it's not the end of the world, is it? You can use things like wood filler to correct that mistake. So just for people not to be too worried in their own homes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And then finally, we're going to come into this corner here where we're going to do a bit of scribing.
Bit of scribing. Okay, I'm looking forward to it. For the internal corners, I've seen people cut 45-degree angles, but they always seem to have a gap. So today we explore the alternative scribe joint. Okay, Kim, so scribing. We're going to do that in this corner, aren't we?
We certainly are. The reason why we're going to scribe this corner is because it is a great skill to learn, but also it gives us extra flexibility. So if you have a corner which isn't exactly a 90-degree corner, it'll just give you the extra flexibility and reduce any gaps. So how we're going to tackle this is we're going to cut the skirting board at 45 degrees and then we're going to go in with a coping saw.
Perfect, coping saw. Nice, let's do it.
Let's go.
Kim, I would just like to take a minute to show some appreciation for your scribing. I think this looks really good.
Thank you.
It's a nice and neat way of joining up 2 skirting boards, but it also has a practical effect as well, doesn't it?
Yes, it's definitely a more advanced joint, but it's fantastic for those corners that aren't quite 90 degrees. It gives it a little bit more flexibility.
Yeah. I think it's finally time to fix these to the walls, so I'm going to grab the glue gun, you grab the nail gun, and we'll get sticking showing.
Yeah, let's go.
Nice. Okay, so we've got our cuts ready, but now how do we ensure that these boards stay put without seeing unsightly screw heads everywhere? Kim, we've just finished fixing our skirting boards to the wall. We used our grab adhesive and our nail gun. Just very quickly talk through the steps that we used just to make sure it was all fitted as securely as possible.
Yes, so first of all we used our grab adhesive and we used a zigzag approach and some circular motions for extra suction. Then we came over to our stud wall and we were able to establish where our studs were and we reinforced it with some nails with our nail gun, but you might not have that back at home, so hammer and nail is just as good.
Good to know. And we had a few little bits that were sort of out of place and some joints that we just needed to push back together. Bits were sticking out as we went. But we just worked through that together, didn't we? We took our time and just made sure that everything in the end is flush, and I think it looks really good.
Yeah, it does look really good. There's always going to be some tiny little gaps which we can fill with cork or wood fill.
Yeah. The boards are up and they look great, but we still have some tiny visible gaps at the top and in the corners. So how do we get that built-in look and be ready to start thinking about decorating? Okay, Kim, you've been busy caulking while I've been mixing the wood fillet. This looks miles better now. You've caulked all over the top, it looks nice and flush. So we're just going to put some wood fillet in the 45-degree cut that I got a little bit wrong, aren't we?
Yeah, that's right. So it's an easy process.
Yep.
A little bit of wood fill.
Okay.
Just going to apply it to the area. We don't want too much.
No.
Best approach is just to literally massage it into the crack here. There we go.
Yeah, and you can see that starting to fill already, can't you? Looking a
Yeah.
lot cleaner. And then once this is finished, we just wipe away the excess. Would we give that a quick sand?
Quick sand.
Yeah.
Yeah, just try and get as much off as possible.
Yeah. Kim, job done. So thank you so much for joining us at the HSS studio. I cannot believe how much we've managed to transform this room in such a short space of time. So in terms of the skirting board, we've looked at a couple of different ways of doing things, haven't we? We've looked at some scribing.
Yes.
We've looked at exactly how to fix it to the wall in terms of your grab adhesive and your nails. You can use a nail gun if you've got one.
That's it.
But overall, we've looked at some tricky angles as well. But overall, it's quite a straightforward process, isn't it?
Yes, it's a really easy process going forward. There's loads of different methods that you can try. It just depends on what tools you've got back at home.
Yeah, and each space is different, isn't it? So you might approach it in a slightly different way.
Absolutely.
Well, I've really enjoyed myself. Have you?
I've had a fantastic time. Thank you
Brilliant.
for having me.
No problem. I really hope we see you again soon. So thank you very much, Kim.
Thank you.
So there we have it, the final stage of our woodwork project. Panelling, flooring and now skirting board are in for that flush finish. I've gained significant experience from this process and, to my surprise, a great deal of confidence to take these new skills home. Trust the maths. For odd angles, use an angle finder and divide by 2. It takes the guesswork out of the saw settings. Scribe your internals. It takes a bit more time with the coping saw, but it prevents gaps when the walls aren't square. Fix to the wall, not the floor. Leave the laminate floor free to move under the skirting. Whether you need to hire an electric miter saw or pick up your adhesive and caulk, HSS has everything you need to finish your room like a pro. I'll see you in the next video.